Amazing twist, one mistaken text to a billionaire revealed an incredible opportunity. Come now. Sarah Lawson's phone buzzed, illuminating the dimness of her cramped bedroom as she barely lay on the edge of her bed, exhausted from another grueling night shift. She fumbled for it with fingers sticky from the stale coffee she gulped to stay awake. Thoughts swirled like a tornado, bills piled high on the kitchen counter, kids' needs weighing heavy on her heart. How could he just walk away? She thought, biting down a wave of anger aimed at her ex-husband. Desperation seeped through her fingertips as she crafted a text meant for her sister, one laced with vulnerability and pleading. With an errant tap, she sent it to an unknown number. "It's so hard," it read, "I'm scared and overwhelmed. I can't keep this up. I just want a better life for my kids." A breath of relief escaped as she set the phone aside, wondering why she felt a tinge of guilt for sharing that burden. Spurred on, she added a final line, "If only someone could help." Minutes passed, and her phone vibrated again. A reply blinked back at her, "I can help. Meet me tomorrow. Come now." The sender's name sent a jolt through her, a well-known philanthropist, Jeremy Harper. Could he really help her? Her mind raced, questioning whether he was genuine or just another rich guy looking to save poor people. The irony stung, help from wealth felt tainted with expectations. Internal conflict boiled within Sarah. Here she was, a nurse and single mother, wrestling with a hand life had dealt her that she had not asked for. Not one to seek help, her pride wrestled with the harsh reality of her situation. "What do I have to lose?" she thought, but doubts clawed at her. Could she abandon her values of hard work and humility? At the hospital, the hours dragged on, her thoughts oscillating between hope and fear. She poured her energy into her patients, yet every laugh from a passing nurse reminded her of the life she could not provide for her kids. Her children were small beams of light in her life, but the reality of needing a brighter future pulled harder. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The pressure gnawed at her. How could she follow through? Arriving home, her children's laughter echoed through the halls, and a wave of warmth rushed over her. Yet that warmth was eclipsed by the weight pounding in her chest, urging her to choose, face a man with immense power or remain in the comfortable safety of the familiar shadows of her life. As night descended, silence enveloped the house. She pictured his eyes, intelligent and assessing, curious about her life's motives and ambitions. What would he expect from her? Part of her craved to escape her struggles, while another part felt stifled by the very idea of change. Her heart raced, irregular and wild. What if she stepped into a world meant for others, only to stumble and fall flat on her face? What if, in chasing this fleeting light, she jeopardized the little hope she had built for her children? Standing at a crossroads, uncertainty pulsed through her veins. She was poised between choice and fear, desperate to carve a new path yet terrified of the cost. The phone buzzed again. One simple choice could redefine her existence, but at what price? The choices loomed large, and as her heart thudded against her ribs, another thought swirled. What if she had it all wrong? What if this billionaire didn't see her struggle as strength but as another opportunity to exploit? With the weight of the moment pressing down on her, Sarah took a shallow breath, feeling the imminent decision close in. The morning sun pierced through the thin curtains, casting a muted glow across Sarah's face. She woke with a start, the events of the previous night flooding back. The phone buzzing was no dream, it had been real. Jeremy Harper was waiting for her, and today was the day she would make a decision that could change everything. As she got ready, the mundanity of brushing her teeth and combing her hair felt like rehearsing for an important role in a play. Every move was calculated, each action laced with the tension of impending uncertainty. Who was she going to meet? A billionaire with the power to pull strings she barely understood. The thought both exhilarated and terrified her. This was far from the hospital where she felt competent and in control. This was uncharted territory. Arriving at the luxurious cafe where they were to meet, she was greeted by the opulent surroundings. The rich scent of fresh coffee mingled with a decor that screamed wealth: gold accents, plush seating, and perfectly manicured staff. As she stepped inside, it hit her that this was a world crafted for success, one she hadn't dared to enter until now. Was she really ready for this? Her heart raced as she spotted him, Jeremy Harper, seated at a corner table. He exuded an aura of confidence that filled the space around him. He was tall and impeccably dressed, a stark contrast to her scrubs and tired demeanor. A moment of self-doubt crept in. Did she truly belong here? But she pushed the thought aside, reminded of her motivation: her kids' future, a better life. Sarah? Nice to finally meet you, he said, rising to offer a firm handshake. His smile was genuine enough, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being scrutinized under his piercing gaze. Likewise, she managed, sitting down opposite him, the weight of her reality pressing down once more. I received your message, he began, his tone serious. I can help you. But first, I need to understand your situation better. His inquiry opened a floodgate of words. The stories rushed out: her struggles as a single mother, the late nights at the hospital, the constant fear of not providing enough. He listened quietly, his expression unreadable. As she spoke, something shifted within her. For the first time, she acknowledged the depth of her own resilience. Here was her chance, not just to ask for help but to articulate her worth, her relentless fight against circumstance. Each word she released felt liberating, chipping away at the layers of fear that had tethered her for so long. Jeremy leaned in slightly, his interest piqued. What do you envision for your future, Sarah? What would you want if you could start fresh? The question hung in the air, a challenge boosting her confidence. I want to provide my kids with opportunities, to give them a sense of security and stability. A home that feels like home, she answered, her voice steadier now. I want them to dream big without fear. He nodded thoughtfully, as if considering her words carefully. And what if I told you that my team and I have resources to not only help that dream take shape but also to empower you along the way? His proposition caught her off guard. Here she was, expecting a simple act of kindness, yet this felt more like an offer for partnership. With it came a prospect that both thrilled and terrified her: the chance to gain skills and knowledge, a pathway carved in the light of possibility. What's the catch? Sarah asked, her instincts flaring. He chuckled softly, not dismissive but reassuring. I don't do catch. I do partnership. But you need to be committed. This isn't about charity, it's about collaboration. The air buzzed with tension, and the seeds of determination began to root deeper within her. Could she really see herself thriving in this new role? Each passing second felt heavier as the implications of his proposal took shape in her mind. Can you handle that? Jeremy's gaze bore into hers, as if testing the very fibers of her resolve. Was this the moment she would redefine her life? The decision loomed larger than ever. Just as Sarah's heart steadied, a tiny voice within her whispered, "What do you want?" As she contemplated her burgeoning desire to break free from the confines of her routine, she sensed it. A change was coming, yet the journey ahead remained dangerously uncertain. With newfound clarity, she looked up at Jeremy, her eyes reflecting both the weight of commitment and the flicker of hope. Yes, I'm ready. His smile widened. Then let us begin. But beneath the surface of her conviction, an unsettling question remained: what price would she ultimately pay for her ambitions? As they discussed the steps ahead, the shadows of doubt lingered. The real journey, she realized, was just beginning. The cafe buzzed with an undercurrent of energy as Jeremy laid out the roadmap ahead. Sarah listened intently, but her mind swirled with both excitement and trepidation. The outline of what he proposed seemed almost too good to be true. Would she really ascend from the monotonous routine that defined her existence? "You'll be starting with some preliminary training," Jeremy explained, his voice steady and reassuring. "This is not just about monetary gain, it encompasses personal development. We believe in cultivating potential. Your first challenge is to present a plan for your future, clearly defined goals, actionable steps." Sarah nodded, suppressing the surge of anxiety. Was she even capable of laying out a plan that didn't just sound appealing but also reflected her true aspirations? A nagging voice in her head reminded her of the countless instances she had second-guessed her abilities. "What happens if I flounder?" she asked, pushing her insecurities to the forefront. "What if I can't keep up?" Jeremy regarded her thoughtfully, and for a brief moment, the atmosphere shifted, charged with understanding. "Everyone fears inadequacy, Sarah. Those who rise, however, learn to navigate it. Embrace it as part of the process." With those words, she felt the first ripples of empowerment. Failure was not the end, it could be the groundwork for learning. It was a terrifying realization yet liberating in its potential. As they discussed timetables and priorities, Sarah felt exhilaration eclipse her doubt. Instinctively, her mind raced to compile a list of tasks, scrutiny of her finances, exploring additional income streams, and even rekindling her passion for art that she had long kept at bay for practicality's sake. Each suggestion from Jeremy sparked more ideas within her, illuminating a path previously obscured by fear. Days turned into weeks as Sarah poured her energy into grasping the nuances of entrepreneurship. Evening hours melded into late-night brainstorming sessions, where the faint glow of her laptop illuminated her determined face. She revisited her forgotten ambitions of the art world, weaving them into a proposal that felt authentically her own. Yet, for every victory came a flood of self-doubt. Every time Sarah showcased her ideas to the team, she braced herself for rejection, the shadow of her past fears clinging resolutely. Would they see her worth or merely a wild card with a flimsy grip on reality? One fateful day, as she shared her revised business plan, she caught Jeremy's encouraging nod. That small gesture ignited warmth inside her, but it was swiftly followed by the fear of eventually disappointing him. "Why don't you let yourself breathe a little?" he suggested one afternoon, a casual smile gracing his lips. "You're more capable than you realize." Her heart raced. "But what happens if I can't deliver?" "Then we adapt. It's not failure, it's building resilience," he replied. The concern in his eyes showed that he didn't just have a professional interest, he believed in her. The enormity of his faith was both daunting and motivating. Each day felt like climbing a steep cliff, each glance back revealing how far she had come but also how precarious her position was. Confidence was not a suit she could don overnight. With each step, she confronted her fears and ugly truths, slowly shedding the self-doubt she had carried for years. Her evolution was unmistakable, and yet, unanswered questions lingered. Was she truly transforming or just curating an illusion of progress, one slip away from falling back into the shadows? Then came the day of her first major presentation, a pivotal moment that could either propel her forward or send her spiraling. As she stood before the audience, palms sweaty, heart pounding, she took a deep breath. Clarity struck her. This was not merely about impressing others, it was about owning her narrative and defining her own worth. Just as she began to speak, her phone buzzed insistently in her pocket, each vibration pulling her momentarily from the escalating tension. It was a text from an unknown number, something jolting yet cryptic. "It's time to reveal the truth of your strengths. Meet me tonight." Her pulse quickened, sending shards of adrenaline coursing through her. What did it mean? Who was behind the message? Tension crackled in the air as she stood at a crossroads. Would she dive into this new mystery, risking everything she had worked for? Or would she forge ahead, proving to herself that she belonged in the spotlight she had chosen. The weight of her decision pressed heavily on her shoulders. One text could either shatter her world or redefine it. It was time to embrace whatever awaited her. With the presentation still fresh in her mind, Sarah's heart raced, torn between two paths. The weight of the text message hung ominously over her, a tether pulling her away from the security she had just begun to enjoy. There was thrill in the unknown, yet a paralyzing fear of leaving her newly forged foundation. As the presentation faded into the background, the looming invitation gnawed at her thoughts. Who was behind the message? And what did it mean for the delicate momentum she had been building? The idea of meeting someone who might reveal more about her true potential was too intriguing to ignore. She began to weigh the risks. The worst that could happen was embarrassment, but what if it led to an unexpected opportunity? Sarah could feel the pull of ambition urging her forward. With a deep inhale, she decided she would go. After all, the old Sarah would have stayed glued to her safe choices, stuck in the realms of fear and doubt. It was time for a change, time for action. The cafe they agreed upon was dimly lit, a sanctuary of muted conversations and clinking coffee cups. As she took a seat, her stomach churned with anticipation. Fragments of doubt flickered in and out of focus. Each footstep approaching the table felt like a countdown to her next leap of faith. When a tall figure emerged from the shadows, Sarah realized it was a man she had only seen in passing at various business gatherings, not someone she'd expected to meet. He possessed an air of confidence that radiated like a beacon. Recognition sparked within her. This was Evan, a notable entrepreneur known for his innovative approach to business. "Thanks for coming, Sarah," he said, settling into the chair across from her. "I've been keeping an eye on your progress." His presence was magnetic, but her instincts screamed caution. "What do you mean?" she replied, trying to mask her jittery voice. "I see potential in you," he stated plainly. "You're at a pivotal point. I believe you can achieve greater heights if you align with the right opportunities." Her skepticism surfaced, but the glimmer of hope that had been reigniting within her couldn't help but light up at his words. "What kind of opportunities?" Evan leaned in, his tone serious but laced with enthusiasm. "I'm launching a new venture focused on integrating art with technology. It's a fusion I believe could change the game. You have a unique perspective, and I think you could play a crucial role in this. But it requires stepping outside your comfort zone." The room seemed to shrink around her as the implications of his words settled in. Her heart raced, not from anxiety this time but exhilaration. She could approach her passion for art with the same fervor she had begun to apply to her professional life. "What do you need me to do?" she asked, adrenaline surging through her. "I need to know you're ready to embrace failure along the way. This won't be easy, and it will challenge everything you know about yourself," he replied, his gaze steady, assessing. Just then, a flicker of doubt crept in. Could she truly take on such a challenge? Was this another mirage, just waiting to collapse under the pressure? "And if I can't deliver?" Evan's expression softened. "Then we'll find a way to pivot. The only true failure would be to not try at all." His words resonated deeply with her. This could be the defining moment she had been waiting for, a chance to merge her skills and passion seamlessly, to define her identity anew. But it was also a thin line between ambition and abandonment of everything she had built. As she left the cafe, heart thumping, excitement and terror twirling inside her, she realized that this choice had the potential to catapult her career and personal growth into uncharted territories. Yet, unease whispered that these untamed waters could drown her if she wasn't careful. Hours melted away as she reflected on his offer, navigating through possibilities and scenarios. What lay ahead was more than a choice, it was a summons to redefine herself. But was she truly ready to become someone new? Just as she finally settled on embracing the challenge, her phone pinged. Another message flashed on the screen: "The clock is ticking, Sarah. Are you ready for the unexpected?" The weight of that question gripped her tightly. Would she stay the course or dive headfirst into the unknown where monumental change awaited her? As Sarah sat on her bed, the screen of her phone glared back at her with a mocking brightness. "The clock is ticking, Sarah. Are you ready for the unexpected?" The words echoed in her mind, feeding an exhilarating mix of anxiety and anticipation. She couldn't ignore the sensation building within her. It swirled like a storm, urging her to respond with resolve. With trembling fingers, she typed a response to Evan, tentatively confirming her interest. The decision felt monumental, each tap on the screen a drumbeat towards an unfamiliar future. She inhaled deeply, wishing she could draw in the confidence that seemed to radiate from Evan. But all she felt was her own uncertainty. What was she getting into? After sending the message, Sarah's mind flooded with possibilities. She envisioned what working with Evan could look like, images of vibrant art projects bolstered by the latest technology flickering in her imagination. Creative collaborations that dared to redefine boundaries. Yet with each thought, criticism rose within her. Self-doubt whispered of past failures, reminding her of how deeply she feared rejection. She made a conscious decision to detach from these insecurities, to prepare herself for confrontation with any lingering apprehension. The stakes were no longer about her comfort, but an opportunity that could shape her future. Imagining herself thriving in this new role, she mentally gathered her strengths. What could she bring to the table? Her innovative ideas? Her appreciation for both art and technology? Perhaps, just perhaps, she was more capable than she realized. In the days that followed, Sarah threw herself into research, immersing herself in intersections of art and technology, identifying trends and emerging tools. She found herself scribbling down ideas late into the night, motivated by a pulse of inspiration she hadn't felt in ages. Each page filled with sketches and notes fortified her resolve to step into this role with purpose, igniting a fire within her that she hadn't known existed. But even as her enthusiasm flourished, new doubts emerged. What qualifications did she truly possess? Her academic credentials felt flimsy in the shadow of Evan's experience. Instead of allowing these fears to consume her, she chose to confront them directly. Seeking out guidance and mentorship from peers, she reached out to artists and tech innovators alike who had navigated similar paths. Their stories of struggle and success reinforced her belief that valuable lessons often stemmed from taking risks. One evening, she stood before her mirror, practicing how she might present herself to Evan. The reflection staring back seemed different, focused, resolved. If she was to embody her aspirations, she had to step into her own narrative assertively, and that required courage. A new Sarah was emerging, one who wouldn't shy away from the daunting tasks ahead. Finally, the moment arrived. She received a call from Evan, informing her of a meeting scheduled for the following day to discuss the project in detail. The tone of his voice was steady and encouraging, reinforcing that her choice to pursue this path was valid. Yet, unease clawed at her. Questions persisted. What if she didn't measure up? What if she failed to deliver when it mattered most? As night fell, she lay in bed, unable to shut her mind off. Every conceivable outcome played out in her head, and amid the chaos, one thought crystallized: she had a chance to carve out a new identity, one rooted in risk and curiosity. There was no turning back. Just before sleep finally claimed her, Sarah's phone buzzed again, interrupting the quiet bubble of her contemplation. The message, however, wasn't from Evan. Confused, she opened it. "Tomorrow will be crucial, Sarah. Be ready for surprises." She sat up, heart racing once more. What surprises awaited her? The clock was indeed ticking, and as she stared into the dark of her room, she knew that tomorrow could shatter or solidify everything she had begun to build. Would she rise to the occasion, or would this unexpected opportunity slip through her fingers? The uncertainty loomed heavily, pulling her into a future where she would either sink or swim. What awaited her on the other side? As dawn broke, Sarah's heart pounded with a rhythm that mirrored her anticipation. The early light filtered through the curtains, casting stripes across her room, yet the warmth outside couldn't penetrate the chill of uncertainty swirling within her. The cryptic message from the night before lingered on her mind, feeding a sense of impending chaos mixed with exhilarating possibility. She couldn't shake the feeling that today was more than just another meeting. It felt like a precipice. As she stood in the bathroom, brushing her teeth, she caught a glimpse of the woman looking back at her. There was a new glint in her eyes, a determination born from the willingness to leap into the unknown. But how long could this resolve last against her doubts? The question nagged at her as she dressed carefully in the best outfit she owned, hoping it would instill confidence. The morning passed in a haze. Sarah's nerves twisted tighter as she navigated through her daily routine. Even sipping her coffee felt like an exercise in restraint, each cautious sip a reminder that she needed to prepare adequately. She reviewed her notes for the meeting repeatedly, but part of her questioned the extent of her preparation. Did she truly understand the potency of her ideas against Evan's experience? Would her insights be lost in his vast ocean of knowledge? Arriving at the cafe where they were meeting, the familiar scent of roasted beans greeted her, mixing with the jasmine from the flowers outside. She welcomed it, desperately searching for signs of warmth, a grounding moment amidst the fluttering anxiety. The bustling atmosphere swirled around her while she settled at a table, her fingers tapping nervously on her notepad. Would her voice hold weight when the conversation began, or would silence betray her? The clock on the wall ticked away the seconds, amplifying her restlessness. Finally, as the door opened, Sarah's breath halted. Evan stepped in, his presence commanding with a quiet confidence that was hard to ignore. He scanned the room until his gaze landed on her, and a smile broke across his face, friendly, yet laced with unquenched ambition. "Sarah. Glad you could make it," he greeted, settling into the seat opposite her. The mere sound of his voice reignited a spark of excitement within her. She had something valuable to share, didn't she? As they exchanged pleasantries, she mentally braced herself, ready to unveil the wealth of ideas that coursed through her mind. Yet as Evan began discussing the project, detailing his vision and what he hoped to achieve, the brimming confidence that had buoyed her faltered. His words painted vivid pictures, showing an expansive worldview she felt she struggled to grasp. Sarah fought the urge to retreat, questioning whether her contributions would matter. Each moment wasted on doubt fed the internal battle raging beneath her surface. "Sarah, I want to hear your thoughts on this," Evan encouraged, pulling her from her spiraling thoughts. His keen eyes were fixed on her, and for a fleeting moment, clarity washed over her. Images of her painstaking research flickered in her memory, details connected like puzzle pieces. Taking a deep breath, she began to speak, her hesitancy morphing into fervor as ideas poured forth. As she articulated her passion for blending technology with art, Evan's brow furrowed in contemplation, respecting her viewpoint. For the first time, she felt signals of balance, a partnership emerging where her unique lens mattered. Their conversation evolved, revealing not just a project but the potential for growth, co-creating something transformative. Yet just as the momentum surged, the buzzing of Evan's phone cut through, drawing his attention away. "Excuse me, I need to take this," he said, his tone tight with urgency. As he moved aside to answer the call, Sarah's heart sank, anxious thoughts creeping back in. Had she impressed him? Or was this all an exercise in futility? The call stretched longer than she'd anticipated, each minute escorted by her anxious fidgeting. Then, without warning, Evan returned to the table, a strange glint in his eyes. "Sarah, I have an unexpected opportunity for you," he started, but before he could continue, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket, plunging her back into a sense of swirling tension. Endless possibilities hung in the balance, as though the universe was testing her resolve yet again. As she glanced at the screen, emotion caught in her throat. Who could be reaching out now, and what did Evan mean by unexpected opportunity? The excitement of the meeting mingled with the dread of unresolved questions, propelling her into a moment of critical choice. What lay ahead could redefine everything she thought she knew. Would this chance thrust her into the spotlight, or would it leave her teetering on the edge of fear once more? The air crackled as they continued their conversation, and Sarah braced herself. One door was opening only as another loomed ahead. Which path would she choose? As Sarah stared at her buzzing phone, her heart raced. The caller ID flashed a name she hadn't seen in years: Lily, her former mentor, the woman who had ignited Sarah's passion for creative design. The message occupied her mind like an ominous shadow, juxtaposed against Evan's offer which hung in the air, shimmering with possibility. "Excuse me a moment," she managed to utter, her voice barely a whisper. She hastily answered, stepping away from the table, even as Evan's intrigued gaze followed her. "Lily? Is everything okay?" "Sarah. I need your help, like yesterday," Lily's voice crackled with urgency. "I'm launching a new initiative, and it feels like everything is falling apart. It's a big deal, and I remember you did wonders with that tech project last year, seamlessly combining everything we think art could be in a digital landscape. I could really use you here. Can you come by?" The world around her faded, leaving only the weight of Lily's plea reverberating in her ears. The questions piled on top of each other in Sarah's mind, each clamoring for space. Here was an established figure from her past, someone she had always respected, extending a lifeline. But what about Evan's opportunity? This meeting had felt pivotal. The chance to contribute to something larger than herself was intoxicating. Yet, the longing for validation from Lily and the desire to rekindle that connection was equally compelling. She looked back at Evan, who appeared to be scrolling through his phone, an unexpected moment of quiet reflection slipping between them. "Sarah?" Lily pressed, pulling her back from the brink of indecision. I'm in a meeting, but I can come by later." "I need to think," she stammered, glancing at Evan again, who was now looking up, his expression unreadable. "Time is of the essence," Lily insisted, urgency escalating with each word. "What if I said there's funding on the line and a chance for exposure to higher places? I think your voice could change everything." That phrase resonated with Sarah. Change everything. Would this be her moment to leap into a career that propelled her forward? The idea that her insights could elevate a project fed directly into her deepest ambitions. She took a deep breath, considering how this could shift her direction entirely. Evan returned to the conversation, interrupting her thoughts. "Hey, is everything all right?" His voice held a gentle steadiness that cut through her confusion, providing unexpected comfort. "Yes, just a friend needing a favor," she hesitated. But she insisted it was imperative. "Sarah, if it's urgent, you should handle it." "This is important work, but so is your personal connection," Evan replied, his tone suggesting he understood more than she shared. "I'm all for supporting your next steps." His support triggered a sense of clarity in Sarah. She owed it to herself to assess her own aspirations more than anyone else's. But Lily's plea revealed a facet she couldn't ignore. This was a chance to reclaim a voice she had let fall silent. "Okay, I need to go. This is crucial," she said, feeling the gravity of her decision settle. "Let us connect later," Evan said, a hint of disappointment flashing across his eyes, but his encouraging nod told her that he would understand, at least in part. As she stepped outside the cafe, she felt the weight of the world shift. Excitement mixed with trepidation propelled her forward. She wasn't just stepping back into Lily's world, she was forging her own path anew. With every stride, she remembered the passion that had fueled her early ambitions, a realization flooding her with hope. The moment she arrived at Lily's office, it was palpable. The frantic energy echoed through the halls. Sarah took a deep breath, ready to dive into a world of possibility. "Welcome back." Lily greeted her, eyes bright with potential. Before Sarah could respond, a whirring drone flew by the window, its presence clamoring for attention. The mechanical buzz sparked a fleeting thought: what if I could create something that combined art and technology in an innovative way? Maybe I can even involve Evan. Suddenly, the narrative stretched before her, offering pathways she hadn't anticipated. Sarah smiled, feeling the once exhausting doubt dissipating. "Let us talk," she said, filled with the kind of anticipation only the unknown could inspire. Yet, just as they settled into discussion, a sharp knock reverberated through the air, signaling an intruder. The door burst open, and a figure loomed in the doorway. Evan, his eyes fierce and determined. The time had come to face the unexpected, he declared, casting shadows of unresolved tension that shrouded the room. Evan's sudden entrance jolted the atmosphere, spiraling Sarah's thoughts into turmoil. The unspoken tension between them collided with the frenetic energy of Lily's office, creating a charged moment that demanded clarity. "Evan?" Sarah felt the weight of his gaze like a spotlight, illuminating parts of her character she had long neglected. There was anger simmering beneath his bravado, a mix of hurt and resolve that provoked questions in her mind. Why was he here, and given his confusion, did he really grasp the importance of this moment? "I couldn't just sit back," he replied, his jaw set. "I needed to see for myself what this urgency was really about." The conflict within her surged, flaring up against the walls she had built. It was one thing for Evan to be supportive from afar, but this encroachment felt personal. Lily's eyes darted between them, sensing the friction. "Sarah, why don't you explain the project to Evan?" Lily suggested, her tone deceptively light, as if wanting to diffuse the tension with optimism. "Absolutely," Sarah responded, instinctively reverting to professionalism. She tried to summon the enthusiasm that had ignited her love for creative design. Lily's initiative focuses on integrating art into technology with unique interactive installations. The idea is to captivate audiences with immersive experiences that challenge traditional perceptions of art. As she spoke, she felt Evan's skepticism at her side. His expression was a mix of curiosity and disbelief. Could she balance this project while managing the disturbance created by his presence? "And how do you plan to execute this?" Evan questioned, crossing his arms. "You've been out of this world for too long. The landscape is more competitive than ever." Sarah bristled at his implication, the warmth she felt earlier beginning to wane. "You don't think I can handle it?" The words slipped out before she could bite them back, her voice rising with defiance. "It's not about your capability, Sarah," he replied, each word measured. "It's about what you're prepared to deal with. You won't get a second chance to make an impression." His bluntness cut deeper than she anticipated. Was he trying to sabotage a moment that could be transformative for her? She felt the weight of her own ambitions crushing against the pressure of his scrutiny. It was as if Evan's concern was a sharpened blade pointed directly at her vulnerabilities. "I can't believe you're questioning my instincts after everything we've worked on together," she retorted, clenching her fists. "I'm here because Lily believes in me. Maybe you should try that for once." Lily's brow furrowed, realizing their old dynamic was unraveling in ways she hadn't anticipated. "Let us focus on how we can bring the concept to life rather than this personal back and forth." But Sarah was stuck in her spiraling thoughts, questioning if she was flailing under the weight of Evan's presence or finally finding her voice. The project represented more than just creativity, it was a stepping stone to reclaiming her narrative, to reversing the staleness that had chipped away at her confidence. "Evan, I appreciate your concern, but you need to understand that I have to take risks if I'm going to grow," she finally said, her voice steadied by a newfound resolve. "If I back down now, I lose my chance to redefine everything." Evan's expression softened, but there was still a hesitation that lingered. "But what if Lily's vision doesn't align with your potential? You might end up buried, overshadowed. It's not just a personal project, it's a gamble." In that moment, the tension became palpable, a crossroads where Sarah would choose whether to fall back into previous insecurities or push forward into unfamiliar territory. Her heart pounded. This wasn't just about the project, it was about who she would become amid conflicting influences. "Sometimes, you have to navigate the fog to find clarity," Sarah asserted, sensing a shift within herself, a divergence from the timid artist she had been. I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next, even if it means standing alone. The sound of her own voice felt empowering, slicing through Evan's doubt as if it were fog being burned away by the sun. Suddenly, their exchange felt less about confrontation and more a shared understanding of growth. Yet, just as she felt her momentum shift, the tension in the room crackled anew, a sound that heralded an unexpected challenge. A series of distant voices could be heard approaching the office, insistent and urgent. "What now?" Lily exclaimed, surprise etched across her face. As the door swung open again, the people entering would usher in an opportunity that could either solidify Sarah's resolve or unravel the beginnings of a transformative endeavor. With curiosity and anxiety entwining within her, Sarah readied herself for whatever had come crashing into her carefully laid plans. The air thickened with anticipation, and she found herself bracing for the magnitude of the confrontation that awaited. What if this moment could seal her destiny? The doorway swung wide, and a whirlwind of energy burst into the room, cutting through lingering doubts. A group of art investors, with sharp suits and sharper expressions, flooded in, shaking hands with Lily before their attention gravitated toward Sarah. "Is this the visionary we've heard about?" A tall woman with striking features asked, her tone a perfect blend of skepticism and intrigue. Sarah's heart raced, her earlier resolve clashing with an acute sense of vertigo. Suddenly, she felt the weight of expectation that had been absent moments before. This was the moment. This was the audience that could either validate or obliterate her aspirations. Yes, I'm Sarah," she managed, her voice steady despite the rising tide of adrenaline. "We're here to discuss collaborating on the interactive installation project that Lily spoke about," interrupted a younger man, his slicked back hair shining under the overhead lights. There was little room for niceties, they were on a mission. "Collaboration?" Evan's voice sliced through the whirlwind, and Sarah could feel his protective stance solidify. "What do you want from her exactly?" His presence, once a source of comfort, now felt like a looming shadow. How could she carve her own path with his questioning gaze scrutinizing her every move? But as she looked around at the expectant faces, her determination tightened its grip. "I believe we have a unique vision to present, one that aligns with the innovation and creativity you're seeking," she began, channeling her earlier passion into her words. "It's not just about installation, it's about creating an experience that resonates and engages." The investors exchanged quick glances, and she could sense a shift in their attention. They were intrigued, hanging on to her words as if they were threads leading to a treasure. Did she dare to dream that this could be the lifeline she needed? "We want to push boundaries," interjected the tall woman, a flicker of excitement lighting her atmosphere. "What ideas do you have?" Drawing on the conversations with Lily and the nagging doubts introduced by Evan, Sarah felt a crucial choice unfold. She could play it safe, offer half-baked ideas, or she could risk everything. "I envision an installation that allows viewers to become part of the art," she articulated, her voice growing stronger, steadier. "Imagine a digital canvas that shifts based on audience interaction. It's an exploration of perception, inclusivity, and technology, breaking the barriers of traditional art." As the words escaped her lips, Sarah found herself standing firmly in her truth. Clarity replaced apprehension, igniting a spark inside her that had long been dormant. This wasn't just a job, this was her moment to reclaim the narrative she had been sidelined in. But Evan wasn't yet convinced. "Are you sure that's financially viable? You might be overextending yourself for an idea that's not completely fleshed out." His criticism reinforced the old habits she had battled against, the fear of inadequacy creeping back into her consciousness, testing her newfound resolve. Yet, as she looked at the investors, she saw not just her vision but the opportunity to rise beyond doubt. "You know, there's a level of risk inherent in innovation," Sarah countered boldly. "The greatest art comes from pushing past perceived limitations. If we don't dare to take that leap, what's the point of creativity?" The investors leaned in, surprised by her passion, and for the first time, she felt the foundation of who she was strengthened, carving out a different version of herself amidst the friction. Maybe Evan had not been wrong, maybe he had simply pushed her to find her strength, a discovery tinged with irony. "Let us not waste time," the younger man said, visibly impressed. "We'll need a detailed proposal." With her heart pounding and a mix of exhilaration and anxiety swirling within her, Sarah nodded, plunging into the logistics with excitement. But as ideas flowed, one question lingered at the back of her mind: had she truly tapped into who she was, or was this merely a first step? Just as Sarah felt buoyed by her unfolding success, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket, jolting her once more into tension. The message that illuminated the screen sent a shiver down her spine. "Meet me now. We have an opportunity you can't refuse." The room bounded with laughter and chatter, but her world narrowed to a singular focus, eyes darting between Evan and the investors, as realization spiraled. Who was this and what kind of opportunity lurked in the shadows? Every instinct urged her to discover more, but one truth pierced her consciousness: this was about more than just a proposal or a project. This was a defining moment that could reshape her trajectory in ways she never imagined. What if this message contained the chance to amplify her potential beyond anything she had dreamed? The chaos of the day finally settled into a singular moment of clarity. As the vibrant sounds of conversation echoed around her, Sarah felt a tether to her aspirations solidify. She had faced adversities and competition head-on, proving to herself that her voice could create ripples of influence. With confidence surging through her veins, she knew she could rise to this latest challenge. "Excuse me for a moment," she announced to the stunned investors and Evan, who looked upon her with a mixture of admiration and concern. Holding her breath, Sarah stepped away to respond to the mysterious message. With quick taps, she glanced at the screen, the urgency sparking her imagination. Who was and what they wanted from her could be the catalyst that pushed her newfound potential into overdrive. "This is a critical opportunity," she said to herself, a mantra of determination washing over her like a warm surge of motivation. She hesitated only briefly before tapping out a quick but composed response. "What do you mean? What opportunity?" As she returned to the table, her heart raced, yet a subtle steadiness anchored her demeanor. She was carving her identity anew, one that dismissed the lingering shadows of self-doubt and embraced possibilities. This venture with Lily represented more than just creative collaboration, it embodied a chance for complete transformation. The investors leaned in as Sarah resumed the conversation, her thoughts finally aligned. Integrating the elements of art and technology will redefine not just what we view as art, but how we experience creativity in our daily lives. It speaks to contemporary culture and inclusivity, inviting everyone into the conversation. Each word was met with nods of agreement, their intrigue fueled her momentum. Evan, surprised by the depth and clarity of Sarah's insights, watched with interest. "You really believe this could be more than just an installation?" he asked, his skepticism beginning to fade. "Absolutely," she replied confidently. "Art is not static, it's dynamic and transformative. The audience becomes part of the experience. That's how we can engage people and incite real change." As they outlined next steps and brainstormed details, Sarah felt powerful emotions coalesce within her. For every tentative step taken, she now discovered deeper currents of creativity, resilience, and opportunity. Moments later, Sarah's phone buzzed insistently once more. She could no longer push the message aside, it demanded her attention. She stepped outside to read it again. "Meet me now. We have an opportunity you can't refuse." The name felt familiar but elusive. What if this was the key to unlocking something even larger than she had envisioned? Quickly weighing options, Sarah could feel the pull of ambition overtaking uncertainty. "The time has come," she murmured to herself. "This could transform everything." Returning to her collaborators, she gathered her thoughts. "I have another meeting I need to attend. I will be back shortly, but I hope to continue our discussions soon. There is something I need to explore." As she stepped outside, the air felt electric, a stark contrast to the hesitance that had once defined her path. The uncertainty that once paralyzed her now transformed into exhilarating possibility. She had embraced her fears, and they set the stage for this moment of empowerment. Arriving at the designated location, Sarah felt anticipation swell within her. The dim lighting illuminated a figure waiting in the corner, a striking silhouette of confidence. Stood poised, radiating an aura that demanded attention. "Sarah Lawson, I presume?" they said with a sly grin. "You've garnered quite the reputation for your vision. I have a proposition that could amplify your influence immensely." Taken aback, Sarah steadied herself. Could this be the breakthrough she had long sought? Her heart raced with equal parts excitement and trepidation. "What do you have in mind?" "Imagine a partnership harnessing the transformative nature of art to invoke change, taking your installation concept and elevating it into a global initiative," I replied, pulling out schematics that laid the foundation for an expansive collaboration. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The enormity of the opportunity was almost overwhelming. She envisioned not only her ideas extending beyond installations but entire movements blossoming from her creativity. It was what she had sought since embracing her renewed passion, an intersection of purpose and innovative expression. "I'm intrigued," Sarah admitted, flipping through the documents laid out before her. "But how do you see me fitting into this vision? Your depth of understanding art's relationship with technology can shape how we approach this initiative," I asserted confidently. "Your voice would be instrumental in defining how we rally people around creativity as a catalyst for real change." This was monumental. Sarah recognized that this was not just another leap, it was the full embrace of the risks she had undertaken. The culmination of her journey, characterized by the willingness to evolve, adjust, and confront challenges head-on, was coming to fruition. Each step had led her to this pivotal moment of undeniable potential. "I'm willing to commit myself and my creativity to this," she declared, conviction ringing true in her voice. "I see the value in what we can create together. I need to explore this path." With every word exchanged, uncertainty melted away, replaced by exhilarating ambition. This moment crystallized her evolution, a journey defined not merely as a survival but as a thriving trajectory. Sarah Lawson wasn't just an artist or a nurse, she was a force of innovation, ready to forge her narrative with intention. Handshakes sealed their commitment, but beyond the partnership, Sarah felt an inner transformation. She now possessed unshakable confidence, radiant optimism, and an unwavering belief in her abilities. The despair of her past had faded, giving way to an empowered woman poised on the brink of leadership. In the days that followed, Sarah delved deeper into her newfound partnership, unlocking pathways to influence that were once beyond reach. Her art installations flourished, and soon she found herself presenting at influential events, her work resonating internationally. Each success validated her journey, while the applause echoed her transformation. This was the culmination of every struggle, every moment of doubt, and every choice to embrace her aspirations. In honoring herself, she wasn't merely living, she was creating a legacy. Each step forward reinforced what she had become, an empowered woman capable of illuminating lives through her creativity. The shadows no longer loomed as paralyzing chains, instead, they had transitioned into vibrant spaces for growth. "Your voice can change everything," Sarah, Evan later reminded her as they stood side by side at an exhibition showcasing her work. "And it already has." With a smile, she realized the truth behind his words. Yes, she had changed, but more importantly, she had claimed her space in a world that once felt distant. This was her moment, the peak of achievement, underpinned by authenticity, resilience, and unwavering belief. And with her heart brimming with satisfaction, Sarah Lawson understood she could expect greatness from herself, knowing that each step had been hers alone to take. The journey was undeniably fulfilling. Now, she stood ready to inspire others to do the same. You need to subscribe now to see how this story continues, filled with more emotional transformations. Leave a like now to support and fuel this journey, every click counts. Comment below your thoughts on Sarah's incredible evolution and what it means for her future. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how powerful change can be.